Today is April 30th, and we want to start our... We want to start our session this morning. May all beings be happy and secure. May all beings have happy minds. Whatever living beings there may be, without exception, weak or strong, long, large, medium, short, subtle or gross, visible or invisible, living near or far, born or coming to birth, may all beings have happy minds. Let no one deceive another, nor despise anyone anywhere. Neither from anger nor ill will should anyone wish harm to another. As a mother would risk her own life to protect her only child, even so towards all living beings, one should cultivate a boundless heart. One should cultivate for all the world a heart of boundless loving friendliness, above, below and all around, unobstructed, without hatred or resentment. Whether standing, walking, sitting, lying down or whenever awake, one should develop this mindfulness. This is called divinely dwelling here, not falling into erroneous views, but virtuous and endowed with vision, removing desire for sensual pleasures. One comes never again to birth in the womb. Okay, with this metta thought, let us begin our meditation. I like to remind everybody that we repeat the same instructions on meditation, because that is the standard way of attaining concentration, gaining concentration. At this time, let us focus our mind on the breath. Breath is a subject in itself of meditation. So we pay attention to the breath without verbalizing or conceptualizing, and become fully aware of rising and falling, or breath arising and passing away. As we do so exclusively with undivided attention, our mind stays on the breath. At that time, everything is put away, and mind and body, the breath, becomes calm, relaxed and peaceful. That is very natural, because the breath is very calm, relaxed and peaceful. It doesn't belong to any particular person, country, nation or any group. It is universal, and therefore mind, body relaxes, knowing this reality. As we are relaxed, our desire or greed that excites us does not arise in our mind. It also fades away. When greed fades away, the mind, breath and the body becomes even more calm, calmer than before. At that time, no resentment or anger arises. Resentment and calmness do not exist together. Calmness arises, metta arises, metta feeling arises. Metta feeling, this calmness in the mind, body and breath is the very fertile ground for metta feelings to arise. So we feel that we are one with all living beings, just like our breath. No matter what problems the world has, we are cut off from all of them. And we wish all beings will be peaceful and happy. This feeling we expressed earlier at the beginning. Now we just feel it. As we feel that, resentment fades away, our body, mind and the breath become even more calm, more relaxed, more peaceful. At that time, we even may feel sleepy or drowsy. And sleepiness and drowsiness we must overcome by energizing our mind. Buddha has very strongly recommended, when sleepiness arises, to visualize very bright light. Very bright light makes the sleepiness and drowsiness disappear. And we have to arouse our energy to overcome this unpleasant, unwholesome mental states. And then we also can use another technique for overcoming sleepiness and drowsiness. That is also very simple. Take a deep breath, hold it as long as you can, and breathe out very slowly. And repeat that several times. Then your body warms up. You may even perspire. Sleepiness disappears. And then the opposite of it can arise. That is restlessness and worry. Restlessness and worry can arise because we have done something incorrectly, wrong thing we have done in the past, or incomplete action, something we have done incompletely, or we might be pondering over the future. So the mind can vacillate between the past and the future. We should not let that happen. That would be disturbing our concentration. And therefore we have to anchor the mind in the present moment. Present moment is also not empty moment. Present moment has the breath, because breath is going on in and out all the time. So once again we return to the breath and stay there becoming aware of rising and falling. Then sleep, the restlessness and worry naturally fades away. When that happens, we still have one more hindrance. What I mentioned so far are hindrances that blocks our progress. Greed, resentment, sleepiness and drowsiness, restlessness and worry are 4 of the 5 hindrances. When 4 of them, these 4 are overcome, we still have some doubt about our own success, or we may doubt the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. We must have full confidence in the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. Buddha is the one who discovered this method, who is the one who, without any teacher, without any book, without any library, or anybody to teach him, he discovered this from his own personal practice. And from what he taught that is from his own experience. That is very powerful. And also he got this experience following the Dhamma. He followed the Dhamma and made Dhamma his teacher and put Dhamma above him. And he respected the Dhamma. He respected the Dhamma and asked us to follow it. And we follow the Dhamma. Many millions of disciples following the Dhamma have attained full enlightenment in the past. They all are recorded. Most of them are recorded. And therefore we have trust in those disciples, noble disciples, who have attained the stream entry, once return and never return state and arahanthood. And they followed this and tested and proved this method. And we also have overcome 4 hindrances. All these are testimony for us to instill confidence within us. So with that confidence, we continue our practice. And doubt can disappear when confidence arises. And with this confidence, we continue to pay attention to our breath, and we see gradually the mind will be filled with joy because we have overcome these hindrances. Joy does not arise out of nothing. The foundation of joy is overcoming hindrances. Buddha himself has mentioned overcoming greed is like paying all our debts. Overcoming hatred is like return to normal health, first being sick and recover from sickness. Sleepiness and drowsiness compared to being in a jail, in a prison. Restlessness and worry compared to being in a desert where you don't know where to go. Oh, restlessness and worry is compared to slavery. Desert simile is given to illustrate sleepiness, doubt. So we overcome all these hindrances, then joy arises in us. then joy arises that increases by degrees until we gain happiness. Happiness is not exciting state, it is calming, relaxing, tranquilizing our body and mind. When that happens, we gain concentration. Concentration is so powerful and sharp and clean and one-pointedness of wholesome state of mind. It can see subtlest changes in us. To see, Buddha said, when we gain concentration, we see things as they really are. They here refer to body, feeling, perception, thought and consciousness. As we breathe, the breath is the body, and we feel the breath, we perceive the breath, we have intentional attention of the breath, and we have consciousness. These are called aggregates. They all are constantly changing. And none of them remain the same, even for 2 consecutive moments. And they change almost simultaneously. They don't take turns to change. They change the same time, at the same time. And therefore it is not easy for us to distinguish one from other. But when we have deep concentrated state of mind, that mind can see the changes of all of them taking place all the time. That way we see impermanence, unsatisfactoriness and selflessness to overcome greed, hatred and delusion. Friend, this is how this system works. And we have a very solid, powerful system, infallible system, and therefore with this confidence let us spend the rest of our time this morning. Keep this instruction for your own practice anytime you practice meditation. By means of these meritorious deeds, may I never join with the foolish. May I always join with the wise until the time I attain Bhavana. May the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear-struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief. So too may all beings be. From the highest realm of existence to the lowest, may all beings arisen in these realms, with form and without form, with perception and without perception, be released from all suffering and attain to perfect peace. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Now, friends, let us spend the rest of the time learning some aspect of Dhamma. I have been talking on Bojanga, and out of them we say, when we practice Bojanga, the first one is mindfulness. Under mindfulness, I was talking on the Satipatthana, 37 factors of enlightenment. Out of these 37, first 4 are the 4 foundations of mindfulness, then 4 right effort, 4 Iddhipadas, 5 faculties, 5 powers, 7 factors of enlightenment, and then Noble Eightfold Path. These are the 37 factors of enlightenment. Please try to remember these 37. Out of these 37, I take the first 4 foundations of mindfulness. I was discussing the first one, mindfulness, or 4 foundations of mindfulness. First one is mindfulness of the body. Mindfulness of the body in the discourse divided into 6 groups, 6 categories. We discussed the first category, that is Anapanasati, mindfulness of breathing. Second category is postures. Third category is clear comprehension. Now today we want to discuss the fourth category, that is called body parts. Sometimes it is called impurities of the body. We mentioned this is very essential part of the mindfulness of the body. This is also called Patikula Manasikara. Patikula is literal translation of Patikula is going against the current. Going with the current is called Anukula. Anukula. Patikula, Anukula. And Patikula Manasikara is also one of the 4 reflections. They are called Anusati. 4 reflections are reflections of the Buddha, metta, asubha, impurities of the body, and the death. These are standard 4 reflections. And many people recite the 32 parts of the body, called Patikula Manasikara. Many traditional Buddhists in Buddhist countries have memorized these 32 and they repeat them. Many times they repeat especially on full moon days, new moon days, quarter moon days, when they spend time in monasteries, practicing meditation, observing the 8 precepts. During that time, many, particularly elderly people, recite these 32 parts of the body. That has some superficial benefit, but these 32 parts of the body has to be used and practiced with to develop great insight, wisdom. Let us see the 32 parts first. I think you all know these 32 parts in Pali, many of them know in Pali. Now let us focus on them and see the English translation so that you may remember them. Then English translation is they're divided into groups. In the first group we have head hair, body hairs, nails, teeth and skin. These are the first group of 5, the first group. Why these 5 are mentioned first? Because these are the things that we can see very clearly. We can see our head hair, body hair, nail, teeth and skin. These are the 5 we see very clearly. And these are the things that our mind deceive us. These things deceive our mind. When we see hair, we think hair is beautiful, pleasant, attractive, and we have all kind of things we do to our hair, hairstyles, hairdressers, saloons. All these things are even industry, saloon industry, and so forth. There is in the modern world, and in the past, in Asian traditions, long hair is one of the beauties of a woman, Pancha Kalyana. So hair has very special place in our life. That is why we spend so much time, energy and effort and money to keep our hair in a certain way. And people use hair to do various things to attract people and so forth and so on. That's the head hair. And then the body hair, like people who have beard and they cut their beard in certain way. Also they like to use the beard to either attract people or to show their masculinity and so forth. So this is the second thing. Third is nails. We have to, people, especially women, polish their nail and color their nails and so forth as a part of their makeup to attract people. And then teeth. We spend more time on teeth. Sometimes we even don't have insurance for teeth. Teeth gives us a lot of problems, losing teeth and so forth. We have 2 sets of teeth, milk teeth and adult teeth. And then from childhood, in many affluent countries, they go to dentist and take care of their teeth, and so slowly they grow and some lose their teeth, and they do all sorts of things to fix it, clean it, put partials and implant and use bone transplant and all these, they do. With all these things, these teeth go through its true nature. That is, they loses, and we lose teeth, sometimes pull. We have a lot of pain when we have toothache, and so forth. A lot of things are happening to our teeth. And then finally we lose it, then we put a partial or breech or crown or denture and so forth. Do all sorts of things to our teeth. And then skin. Skin also is very important aspect. Skin is just like covering a wound. When you remove the skin, little part of skin, then the rest is exposed. Buddha even compared to the perception like removing skin. When the skin is removed, a cow for instance, Buddha used that simile, skin cow, whether she stands in the sun or in rain, in water, against the tree, if she stands against the tree insects will come and eat her flesh. Mosquitoes, when she is exposed to air will touch the skin. And when it stands in water insect or animals or fish and so forth will cut, bite, and so forth. It is very, very painful. So, and they also deceive people's eyes to think that a certain skin color is more pleasant, more attractive. Certain skin colors are not pleasant, not attractive, and so forth and so on. All this happened to these first five, and therefore meditating on them correctly, not incorrectly. I will explain later on how people misunderstand these things and how misunderstanding lead to danger. I will explain all these things. But I simply want to mention this as a part of our mindfulness meditation and reflection of 32 parts of the body. These are the first five. Second five is flesh, what do you call, and they can be, all these 32 parts of the body belong to the earth element. That we discuss later on. But let us mention the names. Second is flesh, then sinews, bones, bone marrow, kidneys, heart, liver, diaphragm, spleen, lungs, large intestines, small intestines, content of the stomachs, feces, or whatever else internally belonging to oneself is solidified and clung to. This is called the internal earth element. Now these first 20 belong to internal earth element. Then whatever belongs to that. Then Buddha said, now both internal earth element and external earth element are simply earth elements. So we have to remember this. So I like to first give the list of these things and then we discuss all these elements, how these 32 parts belonging to element. The next element, the next part is water. That is bile, phlegm, pus, blood, sweat, fat, tears, grease, spittle, snot, oil of the joints, urine, and whatever. These 12 belong to water elements. Now these are the 32 parts. Out of them, first 5 belong, the first 20 belong into earth element. Second 12 belongs to water elements. Now these are the 32, but there are more elements. When we talk about elements, meditation on element, I mention them. Now these are the 32. And these 32 should be used as part of our mindfulness meditation. If we misunderstand them, then there will be a problem. How people misunderstand these elements? There was a disciple, sometimes when we misunderstand, there are two things can happen. One, both depends on our emotions. I mentioned that we have to see things as they really are. Conventionally speaking, these 32 parts are actually not pleasant. They are unpleasant. And nothing coming out of this body is pleasant. Nothing coming out of this body is sweet smelling. To that extent, conventionally, that is true. Now, but and therefore, this conventional truth of these 32 parts of the body can lead to emotions, to emotional reactions. Both are negative. So I give you some examples. One example is Venerable Sariputta had a disciple. This disciple was full of lust. So Venerable Sariputta asked him to practice this meditation, focus his mind on 32 parts of the body. Because they said they are unattractive, unpleasant, not sweet smelling. When you focus mind on that, Buddha said your lust will disappear. So this student of Venerable Sariputta took this subject, went away and sat under a tree and focused his mind on 32 parts of the body. And he found, to his surprise, instead of reducing his lust increased. Then he came to Venerable Sariputta and said, Venerable Sir, this does not work for me. My lust increases. And Venerable Sariputta said, no, go back, and this is a good subject for you. Venerable Sariputta is the wisest monk, with wisdom. He has attained full enlightenment. Buddha has praised Venerable Sariputta for his wisdom. So he asked him to go back and practice again. Second time this monk tried, it did not work, his lust increased, and he returned to Venerable Sariputta. Third time also Venerable Sariputta asked him to practice the same meditation. And third time also he could not get rid of his lust. So, when he came back to Venerable Sariputta said, okay, let us go and see the Buddha as final solution. So he took him to the Buddha. As soon as the Buddha saw at this disciple of Venerable Sariputta, Buddha realized this monk, this subject is not suitable for him. Although it is prescribed for people full of lust to get rid of practice this to get rid of their lust, but it does not work for this particular monk. Why is that? He came from a goldsmith family. Goldsmith family. As a goldsmith family, a member, he used to see gold color. He likes gold color. Now, Buddha, instead of asking him to repeat the same practice, Buddha gave him a lotus flower. Very fresh, water dripping lotus flower. And it has red color lotus. Asking him there was a pond nearby the monastery, and asked him to take the flower and stick in the ground and focus his mind on the color of this lotus. At the same time, some children in the neighborhood picked some lotus from the pond, and they also stuck them in the ground. This venerable monk, look at the beauty of these flowers. They are fresh, fragrant, water dripping, young and healthy. He was looking at them, paying total attention to them, and while it was in the sun, while he was paying attention, focusing his mind on these lotus flowers, seeing the color, and right before his eyes, these lotus flowers began to wither one by one, slowly, gradually, and withered and failed the color, became pale color, and gradually the whole stalk became weak, and the whole flower fell on the ground. First petal fell down, then the stalk, then entire flower fell on the ground, right in front of his eyes. Then he thought, at the same time, insight arose in him. What is the insight? Just like this flower, so fragrant, full of color, fresh, faded away, this body of mine also fades away, gets old and passes away. That is what we do when we offer the flowers to the Buddha. Puppang milayati yatha idamme, kayo tatha yati vinasa bhavam. We use these reflections on offering flowers. Every time we offer flowers, we recite this line. Pujemi buddhang kusumennena punyena etena nacha hoti mokkang. Etena cha hoti mokkang, even by doing so I may get liberation. Puppam milayati yatha idamme. Just like these flowers fade away, this body of mine too gets old and fades away and dies. So when he see this, he saw impermanence, unsatisfactoriness and selflessness. All the three marks of existence, anicca, dukkha, anatta, all these three he saw. At that instant he attained full enlightenment, and then he heard Buddha said, pain, what do you call, he heard Penupamang kayamimikto nagarupam chitta midanta petva yodhet maram panyayudena jitanjarake anivesanosia. This body is like a clay pot. Clay pot is brittle, subject to break any time. Nagarupam chitta midanta petva. This mind is like a city. You know, when you imagine a city like New York City or Toronto City or any city, you can see the activities. Any city has trillions of activities, vehicle, people, sounds, music, and so forth and so on. All these are very, very busy, all hustle bustle. That is like, the mind is like that. Nagarupama chittamidan tapetva. Then yodhetamaram panyayudena, defeat the enemy, Mara. Mara is the name for all defilements. All defilements put together and called Mara. They are called Mara because they always try to kill our wholesome states, always destroy our wholesome mental state. They try to prevent us from attaining liberation, the what you call army of Mara. And therefore, Yodhet Marang, you fight them with weapon of wisdom. Fight them with the weapon of wisdom, Panyayudhena. Jita, and then, Jitancha Rakke Anivesanosia. One should fight the Mara with the wisdom weapon. You gain. You gain. You don't lose. You will win. Once you win and gain something, don't hold on to that. You know, in battles, in wars, they fight for certain things, certain in geopolitical wars, they fight to gain some lands. And then the victors will set their garrison, army, to protect that land that they gain. And Buddha said, don't do that. In the fight against Mara, against defilements, army of Mara, once you fought and won, don't try to stay there. Anivesanosya. Nivesana means house, the place where you stay. Don't try to stay there. Let it go. Let it go. That means don't hold on to your I consciousness, my consciousness, mind consciousness. Don't think that attainment is mine. This attainment belongs to me. This, I attain this. So I, my mind should be destroyed along with the destruction of the army of Mara. Don't hold on to it. So he attained full enlightenment and returned to the Buddha. So, in this case, Venerable Sariputta, even Venerable Sariputta, who was so wise, second only to the Buddha, even he could not give a subject of meditation to students because he did not see the state of mind of the student. And therefore, it is impossible for an unenlightened person to select a suitable subject of meditation for any particular person. We have a variety of subjects of meditation. Each person must try according to the person's temperaments, mentality, spiritual development, to select a suitable subject. So, I want to say more things about this subject of impurities of the body. This is the first part of the talk. And next week, I will continue this. I don't know how long it will take because it is such a profound subject and greatly misunderstood subject, and therefore people sometimes don't like the subject because of this misunderstanding. But I want to point out the deeper part of this practice, and therefore it takes little longer time to explain and expand and explain and show the other side of this practice. I think for today this may be enough, and we will continue. Remember, when you come next Sunday, prepare to listen to the other parts of this wonderful subject. You know, when we were trained in the Buddhist missionary school, my teacher warned us, when you talk about this subject, you have to be very, very careful, because there always is a possibility of misunderstanding. And that is what I try to avoid now. So friends, let me conclude this morning's talk with my regular benediction, wishing all those who are in hospitals taken care of by very compassionate doctors, nurses and hospital staffs, may they recover very quickly and return to their regular health and continue their metta practice, Dhamma practice, and liberate themselves from samsaric suffering. May all the doctors and nurses and various people in hospitals take care of all these patients. Last couple of years, COVID patients. Other than that, there are many other patients suffering from various kinds of sicknesses. Doctors and nurses risk their own life, sacrifice their comfort and their whole life out of compassion. May they continue their wonderful service out of compassion for people, and may they live long in very good health to continue their service. And also people who have lost their loved ones are still grief-stricken, and may they be relieved from their grief and return to their normal life, continue their meditation practice and attain liberation from samsara. And others who have been supporting others, like financial support, other physical support, spiritual support, giving talks, consoling them, consulting them and so forth, they also render marvelous service for the benefit of human beings. May they continue their wonderful service and live long in very good health and attain liberation from samsaric suffering. And then every one of you who have been encouraging me to teach this course, I don't know how long I can do, as long as I can. I will continue these Zoom talks, and because of you, you encourage me. Therefore, may you all continue your wonderful practice and liberate all of you from samsaric suffering and